Aye.
Peekaboo. How y'all doing? I'm here a little earlier today. Hopefully y'all will get the memo. Listen, it's day 11 of this trial. There's a lot of explosive testimony today, and we're gonna get right into it. But you know the drill. If you're in the replay, go ahead and skip ahead about 6 minutes or whatever. Also, if you are in the chat or in the replay, in the chat or in the bushes, hang tight. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna be right back. We're gonna get into this testimony, and child, we're gonna get into it. All right.
Chicken cheese, come on me, time my up, bitch, I'm on the street, come on, it's easy, I'm putting something to sleep, come on the ground, I praise God, I'm stumping feet, come on, on this face, bitch, my shooter playing, come on, that from the back, I told her move her hand, come on, it's not my thumb, man, where her at, come on, your top, I'm with that, bitch, don't look back, what they talking about, they talking about none, 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 huh, they ain't talking about none. Hey, that's my bitch. Hey, that's my bitch. Hey, with all that fake shit. Hey, ain't the one to play with. Hey. Pull off that line, double pocket all that times. Mr. Get off on your pants. If he hate the difference, you better follow up with hands. Lost cooking up, but now I'm trophied up. I'm saying, like, boom. Damn, the type of shit I'm on, you wouldn't understand. The type of shit I'm on, you wouldn't understand. I would not hold your hand. Business, I cannot be your man. Never got his ass shook until we open up that can. Damn, I need who we bands, I'm a slam. I like my Mac touching, yeah, I'm petty. I feel around me, I'm a pin printer off. Her what happened to you, man? Not sorry for your loss. Should have prayed for the shit. Came and nailed to the cross. I let your boy get off the head, bitch. You lucky you soft. For real. What they talking about? They talking about nothing. 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 They talking about nothing. Aye, what they talking about? They talking about nothing. 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 Huh? They talking about nothing. Peekaboo. I am reincarnated. I was stargazing. Life goes on, honey, and all my babies. Woke up looking for the broccoli. I keep a horn on deck of my seat. I peep on the.
Ooh, they trying to get me copyrighted struck. I'll be right with y'all. Give me a couple minutes. Hang tight. Get your popcorn, baby, because it's some things going on at that court today. Gene Deal done knocked out a YouTuber. We gonna get into it. All right. Yo, why they do Diddy like that? Make his teeth gold. Why they do that? Peace, world peace. Yes, welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks. I am she is me, aka the $1 trillion goddess baby. Also the queen of info. If you want to go there, because I bring it when I have it. Yes, I do. And we are here today live. Week 3, day 11 of Diddy's trial. We're going to get into the courtroom transcript to see what's going on. I have peeked into a couple things and it is explosive. Okay. We got, dang, LAPD and LAFD on the stand. We got accusations of evidence being destroyed. Child, Diddy's team is going a berserk, okay, as they should, because their boy is getting cooked, okay. Capricorn Clark gave it to us yesterday. She gave it to us all the way, honey. No chaser, no Vaseline, no, just going all the way hard against this guy. She also kind of went against Cassie too. I actually want to play a teeny short recap of yesterday from Armand Wiggins. And then also, listen, Gene Deal and Donat, the YouTuber, were going back and forth. And the word is that Gene knocked that nigga out. Okay. I'm going to play some of that as well. Probably more in the middle of this testimony when we take a short little breather. No, don't go nowhere. Okay. Y'all be up in them niggas YouTubes who don't show their motherfucking face. I'm going to give it to you today because I'm sick of this shit. Fucking Ticket TV. Fucking, it's a whole bunch of motherfuckers who don't show their face. Okay. But these bitches flock into their motherfucking chats. They be having thousands of people. Okay. And the info sometimes don't be given. Motherfucking Ticket TV. I appreciate him because he come on early as hell. I wake up and he on giving me what's going on for the day. But I swear he repeats himself 1,000 times. Okay. Like this. He repeats himself 1,000 times. He repeats himself 1,000 times. He repeats himself. Like he will go on and he will do that 50 times. But people stay. People love it. You know why? Because he's a man. That's this world. I'm telling you, don't think I'm a bitter woman. I'm not. I'm just telling you, it gets a little frustrating because, people want to see, I'm a woman. Okay. People want to see me. I get it. You want to see me. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you a little filter picture. You want to see a filtered picture? I'll give you that right now because that's all I have available. Let me take this picture down. Where is it? Why is it not coming to the screen? Come on now. Oh, probably because of these comments. Hold on. There we go. Filter picture, Snapchat. Okay. It's me, but it's not me at the same damn time. Nobody wears that much makeup. Nobody. Not me. Some people do, but I'm not a drag queen. I'm just saying, this is me. Okay. Just chill out. I'm a person. I'm a human being. I come here. I do the work. I've been here 6 years. Okay, Faye. Faye says she unsubscribed from him. He repeats this. He does repeat. I don't get it. I do get it, kind of, because, something about a man's voice. People appreciate a man speaking, the authority of it all. But, come on, y'all. It's 2025. It's 2025. What's going on? Let me say hi to everybody first and foremost, for being here, being patient. Faye, UK Faye, what's going on, mama? Thank you for being here. Hey, my Ohio Queen Michelle. Yes, Wild Wayne. Yes, my right hand. You know what it is. Who else did I see? Ice Kid is here. Yes, it has been a long time. Where you been? Where you been? Where you been? I am a little earlier than usual, so a few people, they're gonna miss probably the live, but I hope to see them in the replay. And I'm gonna shout out a couple of people who I ain't seen. What's going on, Ray Ray girl? I missed you yesterday. Black Letter Law, what's going on, mama? Black Letter Law, I was telling you yesterday. I don't know if you were here, but Tisa Tells has shadowed you out. And I forgot what she said you said, child, but she was repeating something you said. You better start charging her. Start invoicing her, okay? It's called billing for all this legal work you putting in. But I love y'all. And, I'm just venting a little bit. It's nothing to, take too seriously. But at the same time, take it motherfucking seriously, okay? Working overtime, I feel you. Yes, I got a lot going on too. That's why I had to change my time up a little bit today. But we're going to get into the things. Let's see. I think I'm going to start with a short, very couple minute of recap of yesterday, because Capricorn Clark has to be commemorized. Okay. We need to definitely recap that and make sure we don't forget it. All right. Let me pull that up real quick. Let me see. Hope everybody's doing well. It's hump day, honey. Happy hump day. We're going to be sliding into the weekend in no time, thanks to the holiday. Hopefully everybody had an amazing Memorial Day holiday. Okay, let me make sure we are on the right tab. There we are. Follow me on TikTok. If you are on TikTok, Goddess Dawn, the number 2, the letter U. Goddess Dawn 2U. All right, let's get into Armand Wiggins' recap of yesterday. Here we go.
You remember Capricorn is black. Okay. So she's gonna pack it up, give you the baby oil, douse it, whatever you need. You need this nigga, whatever you need, just go ahead. I need to go to sleep. I got a kid, I got a lot going on. I'm finna lay down. And I'm finna go ahead and rack up all this room service while you getting freaked off with Cassie and whatever and the Punisher. Then she said she would have to clean the rooms. And when she would clean the rooms, it would just prints all over everything, all over the walls, a baby oil all over the house. She said oil was just everywhere. The whole hotel would be splattered in oil. They said, well, who would kind of be at the hotel and how would that work? She said, Kim Porter and Cassie would be the ones at the hotel. She said that Cassie and Diddy would be in the hotel once a week, about 3 or 4 days. So it was like they lived in the hotel. They'd be high off of ecstasy. So then they talked about a time where she was in the kitchen, and it was her, Chef Jordan, and Lauren London. Diddy came in and said, let me tell y'all why you don't have no man. Just came and told her, I'm going to tell you why you ain't got no man. He said, Cassie. He called Cassie. She walked in. Called Cassie, hey, baby. He told her, shut up. He said, sit down. She sat down. He said, stand up. She stood up. He said, look the other way. She looked the other way. He said, look the other way. She looked the other way. He said, go get that. She went and got that. He said, now bring it back to me. Brought it back to me. He said, sit down. She said, I said, stand up. She stood up. He said, now get out my face and walk away. And she just walked away. And he said, you see that? That's why you ain't got no mother, the man. You remember Capricorn is black. Okay. So she's going to pack it up, give you the baby oil, douse it, whatever you need.
Child, so that was the gist of yesterday. We didn't get all of that in the live tweets, the turn left, turn right, and all of that good stuff. But we did get that he was bossing her around and she was doing what she was doing, like the little, poodle that she was to him sometimes. And told Capricorn and them, you better get with the program. Okay. But Capricorn barked back at that. And, that kind of was what it was. Now, I'm going to get into the Gene Deal stuff later, but let's get into the courtroom, child. Let's get right into today's testimony. So we have a LAPD officer testifying. Okay, he's talking about Kid Cudi's break-in. We got the the LAFD, the LA Fire Department investigator who investigated the car boom boom of Cudi's car boom boom. Okay. Now, some testimony came out, like I said, of some evidence being destroyed. So we're going to get into that. Now, let me tell you, the defense, they are windmilling all the way through this courtroom today. There's also Cassie's ex-stylist who has testified to Diddy and his controlling ways. And then I believe ex-employee Mia, if she testified today, she's expected to testify. When I was looking up what was going on, I hadn't seen her yet. So I don't know if that happened. I know they in court on the East Coast around 3:00, which means it should be over at this point, I think. But let's see. The judge did limit. So the ex-employee is, I think she's an ex-assistant. I'm not sure, but she's going by Mia, which is a pseudonym. She don't want people to know who she is, but I think it's Christina Coram, who was supposedly his right hand for many years and also complicit in a lot of crimes, according to those civil suits that came through Busby's office. Okay, but the judge apparently has limited her testimony because the defense tried to fight her off as well. They don't want nobody doing nothing. I also have a couple of documents that I was able to read that I want to talk about as well that were filed in the docket. Okay, we got a lot to cover, but let's just get started with today's court proceeding. All right, put your devices away. All right, we in court. You cannot be scrolling and listening to TikToks and whatnot. Let me see what we got on the screen. Let me switch over to X. We about to drink this tea. I'm literally drinking tea as well. But thank you as always to Matthew Lee, Russell Lee at Inner City Press for his live tweets. We couldn't do this without him. And, just have to shout him out. Let's do it. So he starts off today. Okay, U.S. versus Sean Combs, day 11 with LAPD, FDLA victim Mia and Nash, who was the stylist. So I guess she did testify, it sounds like, to testify today. So before the jury is brought in, the judge says, let's address this. The government is saying that the message shows Miss Ventura's state of mind. Combs's attorney Donaldson says that's the problem with not being able to recall Miss Ventura as a witness. See, they're trying to recall. See, let me tell you something. There was also paperwork with regard to this too. The government said that the defense is harassing Cassie. Word is, and I think somebody put in the chat, I think it was Trav. What's up, Trav? Trav said Cassie had her baby. I think I heard somebody say that who was on the ground covering the trial. So you think so? In order for them to recall Cassie, if they try to say they are not able to do their due diligence as Diddy's defense lawyers because they cannot get proper testimony, they're going to try to do a mistrial. And that's why they have Brian Steele on the team now. Brian Steele, he is the one who got Young Thug off on that YSL trial. He was the lead attorney on that, I believe. And he, I guess, is the mistrial king. They already tried a mistrial yesterday and it got denied. The judge was not happy about that. He said, you need to be objecting to these motions. I mean, to these, to this testimony and to these questions and stop just popping up talking about mistrial. mistrial. You know, they're doing too much. Okay, do your job. Do your job. You went to law school, you passed the bar, you've been lawyering for a long time, you know what to do. Stop playing in my face. Okay. The judge, he's smart enough to know better. So I don't think that's going to be their last attempt at the mistrial. So we're going to just be prepared to see that again. So let me get back to this. So Diddy's attorney Donaldson says, this is the black guy, the new black guy they got on. He said that's the problem with not being able to recall Ms. Ventura as a witness. The prosecution says all Mr. Nash will quote is he's making me freak off on my birthday. Mr. Nash is the stylist that's going to testify today, y'all. He said she didn't want to go. He was talking about Cassie. So he's testifying to things he has heard personally and witnessed personally. Combs, Alexander Shapiro says Combs is an attorney. I don't know why he takes the time to type Combs as Alex. Just put Shapiro, and that way you can get more testimony in, child. Anyway, Shapiro says a spouse might say he's making me go to Rangers game. I'd rather not tonight. The judge said, so she's trying to compare a freak off to going to a baseball game. All right. The judge says, you could have cross-examined Ms. Ventura about this, right? Exactly, Judge. See, the judge sees the play. They already tried to keep Cassie longer than they were supposed to. They already had her on the stand 3 days. They wanted to keep her longer. She had a hard stop on the Friday that she was testifying because she knew her baby was coming. And this is stress, right? And that actually induces labor. So the judge basically is letting them know you should have brought this up when she was here. Okay. The judge goes on to say every day now I'm getting these letters. These issues should have been raised pre-trial in motions in limine. Tell them, Judge. Now, the reporter here is making a note saying that Inner City Press filed to get these letters into the docket, and now they're going in. Good job, Inner City Press. All right. Now the judge is bringing the jury in. All rise. The jury enters the courtroom. Prosecution goes on to say the government calls LAFD officer Christopher Ignacio. He takes the stand. Prosecution asks, what is a radio call? He says someone calls 911 and it gets sent to the next available LAPD unit on duty. They say, they ask him on December 22nd, 2011, what was your shift? He says 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in a marked police vehicle. Prosecution asks, what do you remember? He says, I got a call around 8 a.m. Code 3 with lights and sirens to 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. And again, me interjecting, hopefully Kid Cudi don't still live there. Doesn't sound like he does because I don't think they would be saying his address. Anyway. Prosecution asked, what did you find there? They said an Escalade. Ignacio said, I memorized the license plate. They asked why. He said, I thought it would be involved in a crime the way it left as soon as we got there. And the prosecution asked, why didn't you go after it? He said, we didn't have a crime yet. The front door was unlocked. We went in. See, can I interject again, child? This is the problem with police and the way things go. Listen, if you're a criminal, you love it. But for people who like the crimes to be stopped and to be helped when the time is needed to be helped, if you see a god dang black Escalade fleeing a scene where a crime was supposedly taking place, did you chase that motherfucking Escalade? Do you not watch god dang FBI Most Wanted, which is actually one of my shows I'm binging right now? Do you not watch The Rookie? Do you not watch? Come on now. Like the fucking car is fleeing from the scene and you just watch it and you get out and go, let me go see what's going on. No, you go chase the motherfuckers. Those are the bandits. Those are the criminals. God damn it. Pisses me off. Okay. Because let me tell you, if he would have done that and caught up with them, we might not be here today. Diddy might have already, done the time for the crime because this was back in 2011. Let's continue. The prosecution asked, what did you see? He says, high-end watches and purses, some wrapped, some unwrapped. 2 detectives showed up. When we came out, I saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill. And then what? They ask. He says, Mr. Muscati arrived in a Porsche. So you just watched that Escalade that just fled from the scene, come back, and you yet still did nothing. Failure. Okay. Prosecution asked, you ran the plate of the Escalade? Okay, I'm going to put a picture up, y'all. I think this might be this witness. I'm not positive. There's 2, not him. That's the stylist. This might be him, but we're going to say he might be the LAPD or the LAFD. We're going to leave that picture up for now. Any comments real quick? Hey, Juti. Yes. I'm going to interject. Okay. I'm going to interject because I got things to say to these people. That's right. I mean, am I wrong? Okay. Let me go on. I think I went into the wrong field in my life. I should have been in law enforcement or attorney or something because this shit pisses me off. All right. So the prosecution asked, you ran the plate of the Escalade? He said, yes, it came back as Bad Boy Records. Hello. Prosecution says no further questions. The judge asked if there's a cross-examination and asked Mr. Steele if he's coming up. Brian Steele comes up. He says, this was 13 years ago, right? He says, yes. You read your partner's report? He said, yes. The streets there are dead ends? He said, according to the map. It's a beautiful neighborhood, right? Cul-de-sac? He said, sure. You don't follow the car as it drives away, right? He said, right. Did you see a Porsche? He said, I don't know. Do you know the definition of a kidnapping? Objection. Okay, the prosecution objects. The judge sustains. Steele asks, were you told the homeowner was in the house shortly before you and your partner got there? Objection. The judge overrules. The door was unlocked? Yes. There was no furniture unpinned, right? You pinned it. There was no furniture you pinned it, right? No. You called it a trespass, not a burglary, right? Because objection. The judge says, I think sustained. Come on, judge. Know what you're doing. Steele asks, no report of theft? He says, no. If you thought there was a GUN in the Escalade, you could have put out a bolo, right? Objection. Judge overrules. And you guys know a bolo is, I forgot what it stands for. It was basically the police basically telling all the squad to look out for this particular car or person. You know, they put it out on the airwaves. Okay. The judge overrules the objection. Still asks, you didn't, right? Ignacio says, right. No bolo. No, I mean, was you sleeping on the job, Ignacio? Come on now. Still asks, any mention of security cameras? He says, I saw some. And Still says, Mr. Muscati wasn't hyperventilating, right? Ignacio says, he was tense, I'd say. Still says, did you search his Porsche? He said, no. Still says, it was 8:20 a.m., not 6:30 a.m., right? He says, right. Still says nothing further. And then the prosecution doesn't have a redirect either. Now, real quick, why would they search his Porsche? Why is he asking them that? I'm wondering. And what difference does it make if it was 6:30 a.m. or 8:20 a.m.? Although I am surprised it was 8:20 a.m. and this was going on. Although by the time they got there and all of that, it was probably 8 something, but it was probably going on around 6 something in the morning when it was probably still dark. Okay. Why was he asking if Mr. Muscati was hyperventilating? Is he trying to say he wasn't as worked up as he's making it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal? And about the security cameras too, by the way, the security cameras, I believe I remember Kid Cudi saying that they were moved. Now, I don't know. He sounded like he wasn't aware that they were moved. Or, you know, so like my question is, I don't know. We need to look into this, Ignacio, honey. I don't know about you. We're going to go on. The prosecution says the government calls LA arson investigator Lance Jimenez. I'll place a binder in front. The witness takes the stand. They ask, how many fires have you investigated? He said 100 a year, everything between mansions to dumpster fires. LA is pretty crazy. Prosecution asks, did you respond as an expert to an auto fire at 8925 Hollywood Hills Road? He says, yes. Oh, good Lord. Why is my son calling when he knows I'm live? And I told him to just come into the live, child. Okay, sorry. So they're asking if he, okay, LA is crazy, right? Did you respond as an expert? Yes, he said. There was a cut in the roof of the Porsche. Somebody cut the roof of the Porsche. Jimenez, they asked him that. He said, yes, there was a cut in the roof of the Porsche. They asked, what about the inside of the Porsche? He says, burn patterns inside. Any items? He said, a bottle in the front seat. He said, a handkerchief burned, a lighter on the ground. Now, what Inner City Press did not include was that it was a designer handkerchief. So this is somebody with money, obviously. Okay, prosecution says, what hypothesis did you draw? He said, Molotov cocktail. Prosecution asked, how did you think it got in? He said, someone lit it, cut the roof, and dropped it in. I think they might have cut the roof first, don't you think? You think they would have lit it first and then cut the roof, risking the fact that it could blow in their hand? I don't think so. But anyway, that's my opinion. I told y'all I've been in a Molotov cocktail situation myself. It ain't no joke. Not a joke at all. Let's go on. Prosecution says, let me show you some photos. This is the black Porsche that what was burned. I'm gonna have to find those photos. I know they're somewhere. Jimenez says, yes. I think he's typos. It says, this is the black Porsche that was burned. He said, yes. I'm sorry, y'all. Jimenez says, Old English 800 malt liquor. And then the prosecution asked, and the wick? He said, a designer type scarf. Oh, there we go. A designer type scarf, silky. In my opinion, this was targeted. Duh. Prosecution says, the partial DNA profile, was it consistent with a female contributor? He says, I was told that. He says, do you know what it means? He said, no. They asked, do you know if it is possible to touch an item without leaving DNA? The defense objects and the judge sustains. What happened to the print cards? Jimenez says they were destroyed in 2012. On whose orders? Someone in LAPD. Not you or anyone on your team? Ignifilo says, I'm going to object to all of this. Can we have a sidebar? The judge says, okay. And they have their sidebar. So there's a long sidebar, y'all. And I'm going to find something real quick.
Tonight, Bill Whitaker is covered.
Not that. Hold on. Let me, hold on. Give me 1 second. Because we gotta get the gist of this situation. This apparently was a very heated moment in the courtroom. Let's see here. Here we go. Let me put this picture down.
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship or when to really fight for it to see if there's something there?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer that applies to all situations. But I think there are some things for people to be thinking about.
Government literally asked the fire detective, yo, what happened to those missing fingerprint cards? And you know, I'm talking about, go look at my other lives. When they were like, yo, what happened to the missing fingerprint charge? All of a sudden, there was this tense charge. Your Honor, we want a mistrial. They said that the government was leading people to believe that Diddy was buying his way to freedom. They were leading people to believe that Diddy was buying people to destroy evidence. And I said, I mean, right? They said that it needs to stop because they were leading people to believe that Diddy was doing all this crazy stuff. Baby, right? They might not be wrong. What the matter is, they demanded a mistrial. They were hopping up and down. It was a tense showdown. Your Honor, the question room. Your Honor, what they're doing. sorry, I'm dropping my pins, right? Hold on a second. Hold on. Your Honor, sorry, Your Honor, the questioning is leading to believe, Your Honor, this is a travesty. Your Honor, this needs to stop now. The judge looked at him and said, Counselor, and again, it was tense. It was a meltdown. It was a showdown. They were hot. When I tell you they were hot, also, Denante Nash, maybe Diddy just got bodied by a cute patootie.
Okay. So that was pretty much like the tone of the courtroom during all this stuff about this missing evidence and whatnot. And they're doing their job. They have to try to get this testimony, which is evidence. Testimony is direct testimony is considered evidence. So they have to try to get this banned or barred from the courtroom. So they have long sidebar, y'all. Then when they get back, the judge says, jurors, we're trying to sync up. Why don't we take a break? They got to take a break. They said Combs exited as well, with marshals holding into the holding cell. Ignifilo says, let me get him. And then Combs is brought back in. The judge says, Ms. Slavic, what was the purpose of getting into that? And the government says they are questioning the investigation, so we're entitled to ask this. I'm confused why the judge is asking why. Duh. If the evidence is missing, it is something to get into. Am I wrong? Come on, judge. The judge said, when I heard the questions, I assumed there was going to be a line of cross-examination about the fingerprint cards, like about the DNA. But that does not appear to be the case. So I'm thinking of telling the jurors to disregard. Ignifilo says, this is outrageous. We are considering what remedies to ask for. Let me speak with my colleague. They implied that someone in this courtroom was responsible for the destruction of fingerprint cards. They intended to attack the investigation. The judge calls a recess. Okay. At this point. So listen. If a bit, okay, Kid Cudi's testimony primarily revolved around this incident with the car boom boom and the break-in of the house, and that is huge, and it does fall under the RICO charge. They have to explore this. So why wouldn't they ask this if the evidence was missing? If the evidence was missing or destroyed, I don't see why that line of questioning. I mean, obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school. I took the LSAT, did very well. However, I didn't go to law school. So yeah, I'm just saying, as a common sense thinking person, using the brain that God gave me, I'm just asking questions and wondering, like, this just doesn't sound logical to me. Okay, so they're back from break. The judge says, it's my intent to strike from the record any testimony about the fingerprint cards and the destruction of them. I will note that the only answers were what the witness knew about the destruction. I sustained the objection to it if it was abnormal. Shapiro, Combs' attorney, says, we're going to move for a mistrial at this time based on the prosecutorial misconduct that has occurred. Some prospective jurors said Mr. Combs could buy his way out. This type of conspiracy is out there, and this brought into it. They should have ended it when the fingerprint cards were destroyed, but they asked, did he authorize it? There's no way to unring this bell. The only remedy is a mistrial. And the prosecution said that's absolutely unwarranted. It was Mr. Ignifilo who wanted to inquire about the DNA into the investigation. Your Honor can say that the jurors should not draw any interference from the destruction of the fingerprint cards. The judge says application for a mistrial is denied. Okay, get that shit out of here. I sustain the objections. The jurors have already been told the questions are not evidence. Shapiro says Your Honor should tell the juror that the questions were improper. And the prosecution says they weren't improper. You should say disregard both. Shapiro says, will the court tell the jurors that the answers are not to be considered? The judge says, I'll tell them that the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to the case and are not to be considered. Shapiro says, thank you, Your Honor. So I'm just thinking that the judge already sees where this thing is going. He already knows that this guy, I think, is cooked. I think he's just he doesn't want to risk an appeal on this. He doesn't want to risk, his work here. He, if it gets appealed, that's a bad look on him. So he's, I think, got to give the defense something. And, maybe that's what it is, because I don't get it. All rise. The jurors entered. The judge says, jurors, the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and are not to be considered by you. Please proceed. Now, if you were a juror, would you unremember that? I doubt it. Okay. The prosecution asked, did you interview the owner of the Porsche? Jimenez said, Scott Muscuddy. The prosecution asked, did you reach out to others? He said, I reached out to an assistant. Jimenez said her name was Capricorn. Ignifilo says, I'm going to object. The judge asked to rephrase. And the prosecution asks, who did you reach out to? Jimenez said, Capricorn and Cassie Ventura. Prosecution asked, did Capricorn respond or assist? He said no. Because remember, Capricorn told us she hung up on him when they called her. Prosecution asked, how did you reach out to Cassie? Jimenez said, wasn't able by phone, tried through a family member. Did you reach her? He said, never. Were charges brought? No, but I never closed the case. It's listed as inactive. It's still an open case, y'all. Prosecution says nothing further. You know what that means? It's an inactive. Oh, wait, it's listed as inactive. My bad. I was getting excited. I'm like, it's still, he can get arrested. Okay, my bad. It's inactive, but not closed. There's a difference. Inactive just means there ain't no action. It's not closed. It's still open. It's still open, y'all. Okay, so the prosecution said nothing further. The judge says cross-examination. Ignifilo says there was a DNA hit on the glass bottle for female DNA, correct? He says yes. Do you remember when the results came back? He said maybe 6 months. Ignifilo asked the test on the bottle, was it important? He said yes. What does it mean, partial DNA female? He said, I have no idea. I was told if we had a suspect, we could test again against it. Ignifilo asked, any other DNA on the bottle? And the prosecution objects. The judge asked to rephrase. Ignifilo says DX852 just for the witness. Ignifilo says, that's a glove, right? He said, yes. Did you find another glove? He said, no. Did you test the glove for DNA? He said, no, I understood it belonged to the owner. It was a driving glove. Cuddy riding around in his Porsche with driving gloves on. Ignifilo says, your premise was that the Molotov cocktail was dropped. Did you think the person who dropped it would have worn a glove? He said, perhaps. Ignifilo says, it would have been hot. Jimenez said, only the wick. Ignifilo says, the damage, it's on both sides of the bottle, right? He says, looks like it. Did Mr. Muscuddy have more than one Porsche? I think he had a second one in the garage. Why isn't it in your report? It was not involved, he says. Were you were unable to reach Capricorn, Clark, or Cassie Ventura. When did you reach out? He said in the first few weeks. Are you sure? Tell us everything about these calls. I believe Capricorn's brother answered and we disagreed. Ignifilo said, and once Mr. Muscuddy told you it was his glove, you didn't investigate the glove anymore, correct? He said, I did not. Nothing further. The judge asked if there's redirect. The prosecution asked, when did you speak with Mr. Muscuddy? He said the same day. They say nothing further. So I'm going to go back and interject real quick. Jimenez asked, when he was asked, if he was sure he had called within the first few weeks, he said he talked to Capricorn's brother and we disagreed. I'm very curious of what did you disagree about? Like, I would like more of that. Like, can we get into that? But okay, let's move on. Next witness, the judge says. The prosecution asks, the government calls Deontay Nash. Are you here under subpoena? Okay, let's change the picture, child. I think this is him. Wait, where is it? I think that's him. And according to some reports I heard of people on the ground, they said he came in styling and profiling, honey, looking like $1 million. Okay, let me see what y'all are saying here in these comments. Ray all day. If the evidence has nothing to do with Snuff Daddy, Snuff Daddy, oh, pufferfish, then why is defense up in arms? Exactly. They said I'm right. Okay. Ray, aha. Now that Papa placed Snuff Daddy at the scene of the crime, this could qualify him for RICO charges. Yes. Why not contact the Black Escalade all this time? Exactly. It said Bad Boy Records when you ran the plates. He was implicated by Cuddy. What happened? Why wasn't this ever investigated further? Ray said, why not test the gloves? I think there was just one glove, but yeah, why not just test it anyway? If he told you, but Kid Cudi said it was his glove, but you know, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough. Let's move on. So this is Cassie's ex-stylist, Deontay Nash, on the stand. They asked him, the government said, are you here under subpoena? He said, yes. Do you want to be here? He said, absolutely not. What's your work? He said, celebrity stylist. In 2008, he said, yeah, for Puff and Cassie. How'd you get hired to work for them? Through a Craigslist ad for Bad Boy Entertainment. This photo, is it a fair and accurate portrayal of how you looked at that time? They show a photo. He said, not even close. Is it a glamour photo? He said, yes, I look amazing. How often would you witness Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura interact? He said, at least once a week. What did Mr. Combs call Ms. Ventura? He said, bitch, hoe, CC, baby girl, slut. He would call her an outright hoe, a slut, anyway. Prosecution asked, how did she react? He said, sad. That's messed up. That's so messed up. Prosecution said, did Mr. Combs make any threats? He said, yes, that he would beat her ass, that he sent her sex tapes out. How often would he say he would beat her ass? I can't believe that prosecution said beat her ass. Nash said, quite a few. It drove her crazy. She would be super emotional. She might stay in the house for a few days. How often did Mr. Combs say you could not go out without his permission? He said twice. The first time we went to a gay club with Kyle and Adrian. Then we went to her LA apartment. Puff called and told her she better bring her ass to his house. She panicked. What did you understand Mr. Combs was saying? And then there's an objection by Donaldson. The judge overrules. Nash says she packed her stuff and went to her house. Did you attend a Vanity Fair party? He said, yes, Oscar's after party in 2014 with Cassie. Puff was there. How did she look? She looked bomb. Her hair was, Donaldson objects. The judge overrules. Her hair was long. Puff picked me up and threatened me. I pinned her hair up. Oh. The prosecution asked, she record music? He said, often. What was your role? He said, I helped pick songs. I probably should have been called an exec. Donaldson objects. The judge sustains. He says, her mixtape, was it ever sold? He said, no, it was put out free, but it did well, a top download. Prosecutor Comey says, how much of her music was released? Nash says, I'm being generous to say about 10%. Prosecution asks, this would be a good place to break, or says, the judge says jurors may break. And then the judge turns to Comey and says, what he'll say about 2013 is not about the tapes? She said, no. The judge says, okay, I'll break. When he says the tapes, I think he means the FO tapes, y'all. So they're on a break. Let me see if y'all have any. Y'all quiet over here. Ice Kid, money happened, Diddy happened. Money happened, Diddy happened. Bottom line, right? It's Mia without the screen in the gallery showing the photograph. So she's going to be a hidden, I think they put screens up and she has a pseudonym they're using. I think they're going to hide her, but they're not showing the picture. The judge says, bring back Mr. Nash and then the jury all rise. Comey says, how many times in person have you witnessed Mr. Combs be violent? He said quite a few. This is a sealed exhibit. Without saying her name, do you recognize this person we'll call Mia? He says, yes. Comey says, what were you and Mia helping Cassie pack for? He said, the OVO Fest in Canada. Who came to the door? He said, Puff. He said, bitch, bitch, didn't I tell you to answer your phone? Then he dragged her by the hair and hit her. How hard was he hitting her? Donaldson objects. The judge overrules. Nash says, very hard. We ran to the bedroom, but Puff pushed it open. He continued to attack Cassie with his fist. What did you do to try to help Cassie? I jumped on Puff's back. He threw me off. Mia, too. Damn. Cassie's head hit the bed frame. She was bleeding, but Puff continued hitting her. Where was Mia? Getting towels. What did Mr. Combs say to you, Mia and Cassie? He said, look what y'all made me do. He said she'd go to a plastic surgeon. They asked, with who? He said, D-Rock. He was Puffy security. His name comes up a whole lot, this guy. Okay, the prosecution asked, after that, when did you see her? He said the next day, FaceTime or something like that. She had a gash in her eyebrow. Were you once cooking with Cassie when Mr. Combs got violent? He said, yes, Puff came. He said, what did Mr. Combs say? He said, y'all better get out of my house. He was grabbing her by the hair. He pushed her out of the door and then began to do the same to me. But I don't have hair. He popped me. He told me to go downstairs and wait. He said they came down and Puff was berating us. As we drove off, we got a phone call. Donaldson objects. Judge says, new question. Dang, I want to hear what he has to say. Prosecution asked, call from who? He said, Puff. He told us to stop and he came to the window. He said he put her sex tapes out on the internet. Boom. Nash said, Puff. Puff said he'd send her sex tapes to her parents' jobs and get them fired, that her brother was a bitch and that only he protected her. Prosecution asked, what did you tell her? He said that Puff is on the sex tapes too. She said he's not. He was taping her with other men. Wow, this is crazy. Prosecution asked, what did he say about wanting or not wanting to have sex with other men? Donaldson objects. The judge overrules. Nash said that she didn't want to. I drove her to Sunset Boulevard to get a taxi. He said they asked why. He said Uber wasn't really a thing yet. He said Puff came to my house looking for her. He looked in my oven. I'm not sure why. Puff took my phone and Cassie called from a hotel. Puff said, let's go there. Bad boy staff stayed there. They asked, what did Mr. Combs say? He said, go get her. I went to Cassie's hotel room with D-Rock and Tony. She jumped up. She was frightened. She said she would jump off the balcony. Oh my. Prosecution asked, how high was it? He said it wasn't the first floor. Downstairs, I saw 4 or 5 of Puff's security waiting. Nash said, Puff told me, you played me. I drove off, but Puff's security followed me. I turned off my lights and drove really fast. I went to the Universal Sheraton. Did you go home the next day? Yes, I found my backpack was stolen. It had $1,000 in it. Why did you keep $1,000 cash? So when Puff was mad, I could check into a hotel without giving my name. What happened in 2015? I saw Puff slap Cassie in the face. He said, get this bitch out of here. What did you do? Got her out. The perfect match premiere. What did you see? Cassie had a black eye. When was Mr. Combs violent with you at a music video? Or was Mr. Combs violent with you at a music video? Yes. I was outside smoking a cigarette. Puff came and threw me on the car and started choking me out. Puff said, y'all keep going out. Prosecution asked, did you report anything to the police? He said, no, I was afraid of retaliation from Puff. Did you get anyone on staff? He said, Christina Coram, KK. What did she say? That she would talk to him. Did anything change? He said, no. How often did you help Cassie hide? He said, often. What did Mr. Combs do? He would blow our phones up. KK would too. She would say Puff was calm. Cassie would go back. Did Cassie tell you she was going to a hotel with Mr. Combs? He said, yes, weekly. She would pack sex toys. Did she say she wanted to go? Donaldson objects. The judge overrules. She says she didn't want to go. Prosecution asks her 29th birthday. Tell me. Puff asked me, should he surprise her on her birthday? Comey said, what did you say? He said, girl, I was not about to tell him not to surprise her. Did she use the word freak off with you? Not like freak off, more like freak off. Like a verb? Yes. Where did you go after the blind dragon? He said 875 Comstock, like 17A. Puff said, y'all got to get some dick. Wait, Puff said, I'm not monetized, y'all, so I don't really give a fuck. He said, Puff said, y'all gonna get some dick tonight. And the prosecution asked, what did Ms. Ventura say? And he said that she didn't want to go, but he made her. They left the house. She was super high. So he drags her from her birthday dinner to go to a damn freak off. Child. New Year's Eve 2017, where were you? He said Vegas with Cassie and the staff, all on the same floor of the hotel. Puff's room was at the end of the hall. What did Mr. Combs tell you? That Cassie had been asleep for 24 hours. I had to wake her up. Now, keep in mind, y'all, this is after, if it's 2017, it's after the Intercontinental Hotel hallway beatdown, right? All right. Let me continue here. Nash said, I had to wake her up. He said, they said, did she wake up? He said, she woke up for me. So she was playing sleep, basically. What did Mr. Combs say? That he spent all this money, so she had to. Then there was a low budget producer, and he laughs. How many of your meetings with the prosecutors did you end early? Probably all of them. Did you stay in touch with Mr. Combs? So he ended his meetings early with them. Okay, so he said, did you stay in touch with Mr. Combs? He said, yes. What was your tone? He said, loving. Why? I don't hate him. It's not in me. No further questions. And the judge calls for a break at this point. I mean, he got slapped, popped, choked, pushed, dragged. I mean, and he still goes back too. He's a victim, I would say. So they're on break, y'all. Let me see what y'all have to say in this comments here. Ice Kid said, people know, but we have to go. But we have to go TJ. What is that? To jail? Through the loops to get the truth. Oh, okay. That is true. And we going through them. Thank you for the bells. Black Letter Law. She says, oh my, this is quite violent. You damn Skippy. That's why we doing this. While Wayne said this channel has strong language not suitable for kids. Yes, if you are under the age of, if you're a minor, get the hell out of here. Juti, what a monster. I predict his head getting bumped on the bed. I predict his head getting bumped on the bed frame and bleeding in his future. Right? Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but boy, would it be deserved. Definitely. Trav, D-Rock, that's Biggie best friend. Remember the Biggie movie? His character was in the movie and took the bid for Biggie on a gun charge. I did watch the movie, but I don't remember D-Rock. I do know that his name has come up a lot. I tried to look him up and couldn't hardly find a thing. So that tells me I think he probably has scrubbed, if he ever had social media, that he scrubbed it down because he knew this was coming. And I'm feeling like either if he's not testifying for the prosecution, then he might catch a case. Because what people don't understand is that I'm using R. Kelly's RICO as a reference because I followed that trial just like I'm doing this one, probably even deeper. And 2 people caught cases outside of that RICO. People think, oh, well, it's a RICO. All the people should be under the, they should get arrested within the RICO. But that's not necessarily how it works. As a matter of fact, somebody got 8 years for arson, just like what happened with Cuddy's car. That happened in R. Kelly's case as well. And that guy is still in prison. And also his ex-manager got jail time as well. I think he got a year or so. But it did have to do with the RICO, but they got separate cases. So like what I'm saying is D-Rock could get a separate case if any of these things come up, even with that arson situation. If it's still open and they come to find out Diddy or anybody in that enterprise had to do with that, they could catch a case from that. Exactly, Faye. It's an enterprise. They're That's why I'm confused by people who don't seem to get, just because it was some female's fingerprint or whoever's fingerprint, like I said yesterday, that doesn't mean that Diddy didn't do it. He had other people do his dirty work. Hello. Ice Kid, Diddy is in the worst trouble that weak ass public apology he made. Hello. And they're going to play that apology video. Okay. They're going to play that. Faye said Diddy really is a savage. Diddy is a savage, and you queuing something up, child. You know what you doing.
I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Why is the mic muted? It says mic is muted. Why is it?
I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage!
That's weird. It's what he's saying is I'm a savage. I don't know why the mic mutes though. That never happened before. That's interesting. Okay. Make sure I got all y'all's comments. Ice Kid, Diddy's in the worst trouble. Oh, okay, I've already read that. Diddy's Enterprise, we got that. Okay. All right, let's get back to it, y'all. Before the jury comes back, the prosecution says this witness has a flight back to LA tonight. We'll rebook if we have to, but if we could stay a little later and finish with him, I know he'd appreciate it. The judge said, I think we can. I told the jurors we might stay till 4. The jury enters. The judge says we might stay. The judge asks, we might stay till 4, Mr. Donaldson. Donaldson says, how are you? Nash says, okay, so Donaldson is cross-examining now. It sounds like he's the last witness for the day. Mia's probably going to be tomorrow. How are you? He said, I'm blessed. Nash does. Donaldson says, when you met with the government, you had an attorney present? He says, yes. The subpoena didn't mean you had to go to their office. He said, right. You hired a civil lawyer, Mr. Dunn, to represent you considering litigation against Mr. Combs? He said, no. Does this document show that? He said, it's their assumption, but no, I have counsel to protect me. I don't do federal court. On March 10th, 2025, did you tell Ms. Comey that you are considering a civil complaint against Mr. Combs? He said, no. DX18, he said Cassie in the video for the mixtape. And 1801, he said Cassie and Usher. This is the 2016 Bad Boy reunion show. Is what Nash says. Did you pick out that dress? He said, I don't remember. Okay. He said, I don't remember. You didn't start as a celebrity stylist. Is what that Mr. Combs introduced you to Cassie, right? He says, I met her, Mrs. Fine. So it's Mr. Combs who made you a celebrity stylist. Sure. Go ahead. I am going ahead. He's like, sure, go ahead. Yeah, if that's what you want to say. So basically, he found the job on Craigslist. He wasn't a celebrity stylist at the time, is what they're saying. He says, I am going ahead. As a celebrity stylist, you pick clothes. Like for Mrs. Fine's wedding, he said, yes. Do you know Mr. Groovy Lou? He said, yes. As head of Bad Boy, was it in Mr. Combs' interest that his artist Cassie looked good, right? It was in Mr. Combs' interest that his artist Miss Cassie looked good, right? He said, I suppose. And Bad Boy paid for Cassie's studio time, right? He said, yes. Miss Ventura can't go to the studio under Mr. I guess unless Mr. Combs pays. What is young and reckless? Nash said, a streetwear clothing brand. Cassie owned part of it. Mr. Combs had nothing to do with it. Nash said he had to approve everything. Wasn't Banna involved? And then he puts in parentheses Brianna Bongolan. And I believe Bongolan. I remember that name. And I think she might be a victim. Nash says, as a stylist, who else were you styling for in 2016? He said Cassie, Puff, Mace, and Lil' Kim. Major artists. And on the mixtape, were you executive producer but got no credit? Meek Mill was on the mixtape. He said yes. Pusha T, yes. Nash says, can I take a break? The judge says yes. The jury leaves. The judge says, Mr. Donaldson, how much more? He says, no way, I'll be finished by 4. The judge says, did you know that before I told the jury it's before? He said, I didn't know. The judge said, well, we'll go to 4. The government says, I'll rebook. The judge says, break. Okay, so they're taking a break. So it sounds like the judge was like, we're going to go to 4 o'clock anyway. But I think, the prosecution has to be careful too, because like I said, they don't want a mistrial and they don't want this, if he's convicted, to get appealed. Because they're going to say, we didn't get enough time to cross-examine. We didn't, they took away the witnesses before we were finished. Things like that are problematic, right? All right, so they're back in the courtroom. Donaldson says, nice coat. Nash says, thank you. Donaldson asked, what size? He said, not your size. Donaldson said, right answer. Mr. Combs, what was the final decision making? Mr. Combs, was the final decision making? He said, no. Some of them look terrible. You are friends with Miss Fine? He said, yes. When's the last time you spoke with Banna? He said, yesterday. Not about testimony, right? He said, she saw it on the news. When did you speak with Cassie? He said, yesterday. I congratulated her on having the baby. Congratulations, Cassie. You saw her take drugs? He said, cocaine, ecstasy, whatever. Coke, ecstasy, MDMA. Mushrooms and acid? He said, I'm not privy to that. Not to get into your business, you have used cocaine? He said, yes. You smoked pot before meeting prosecutors? He said, yes, and Maureen cut it short. She probably smelled it on him. Coming in here high. Donaldson said, you were told you were high? He said, that I was smoking. Making a video costs hundreds of thousands of dollars? He said, not necessarily. Who was Mia? He said, Puff's assistant. You and Mia jumped on Mr. Combs to protect Cassie from him, right? And to protect him from doing something worse. And D-Rock tried to protect you and not protect Mr. Combs? He said, yes. Judge says, we're at 4 p.m. The jury leaves. The judge says, who are witnesses after Mia? They said, we think she'll go long, but after her, Enrique Santos. Judge says, after today, Mr. Ignifilo, give your exhibits by 5. Ignifilo says, we only get back to the office by then. We think your honor could let us meet with Mr. Combs in the SCIF here in the courthouse under your Article 3 powers. We'd like the SCIF every night until 10 o'clock. Oh yeah, they're pressed. They need more time with Mr. Combs at this point. They need more time with their client because these last couple of testimonies are very problematic for their case. That's me interjecting. So the reporter says with lawyers still arguing about the SCIF and exhibit time, here's the court art of Deontay Nash. He looks like a different person than in this picture, but let me take this picture down. So this is the picture they're showing that they got of him. So that's him. Okay, let's let me see any comments real quick. Ray said, we heard it. Ice Kid said, clocking out, family still listening strong. Trav said, Mia going to be tomorrow. The prosecution said she's going to be on the stand till Friday. So tomorrow's Thursday. So she's going to be 2 days of, oh yeah, that might be KK. I'm thinking. They said, wonder what the jury are thinking right now. This is wild. I know. They're like, this nigga's guilty. That's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking. All right, let's go on. Prosecution says we're still ahead of schedule. We may even cut some witnesses. You know why? Well, let me finish what they got to say. I think we'll rest in less than 6 weeks. We'd like to in the second week of June. We might bleed over into the third week. The judge says, I'll look at the request to charge. The judge adjourns, and that's it for today, child. That is it for today's testimony. Now, I wanted to say the reason that the government is probably cutting things short, cutting witnesses, because I think they know they got their case. And I think they don't want to overburden the court and do things. You know what I'm saying? Because the jury can get tired and weary. You know, you want to keep things fresh in their minds. And this stuff is pretty good. And they save the best for last, usually. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be looking forward to some more very, very interesting testimony. Now, I do want to share a couple things, like I said earlier, from TikTok, from people who are on the ground at the courthouse about specifically, let's get into the Gene Deal situation. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Where's the one I saved where? Oh, here it is.
Okay, I'm not the type of dude that you can come up on like. Bro, listen. We out here to get kind of content. You're not gonna tell me what to do. You can't come up on me. Bro, listen. If you come up on me, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. That's what I say. That's what I say. No, bro, shit. I said I'm a bitch. You wanna misgender me now? Now it's fucking anti-Asian because I'm Asian. So now you harassing me. I am protected by anti-Asian hate. Go down the road there. I'm not the type of dude that you can come up on like.
Okay. I don't know who that lady was. Some cuckoo brain person. But Gene Deal and YouTuber Donat are going back and forth, as you can see right here. Gene basically lets him know, leave me alone, or you're going to get punched you're going to get knocked the hell out, right? And this is stemming from actually yesterday. Let me see if I have that. Basically, Donat, when Gene was outside yesterday, I believe it was letting him know that there was some guy who said Gene was complicit in something, and Gene was trying to ignore him. Tisa Tales was interviewing him at the same time, trying to block Donat from talking to him. But apparently this happened.
Patriot Secret Service, Sam here, just stepping out of the court building for a moment. We had a 10-minute recess. Here is something that not a lot of people are talking about. Gene Deal was here at the court building. I interviewed him in the elevator, and then shortly after that, he got into an altercation with a YouTuber, a friend of mine now who I know, called D Knot. D Knot was harassing him the day before, calling him all these names, calling him Uncle Phil. There's a video you can see, and apparently he punched out and knocked out D Knot yesterday to the point where they told Gene Deal not to come back for a few days. No arrests were made or anything, but like, I don't know. And I just saw D Knot a little bit ago trying to get into the main courtroom. And I think he was in the overflow. So I got to go talk to him. Maybe I'll get an interview for you guys, but I just wanted to drop that on you. Gene Deal knocked out YouTuber did not. Okay. There was an altercation. And like I said, I don't know whose fault it was. No arrests were made, but Gene was asked to take a couple days off from the case. So that's a little drama. I got more coming to you with the arsonist today. Please follow my YouTube. Secret Service out.
So Gene Deal made good on his promise to knock Donat out. And this is what Donat had to say after the fact.
It is on my platform interviewing me, asking me about what's going on. Look, that is Bentley and that's him. This man I just interviewed, this man just told me Gene Deal helped Puffy lace him and two minors at the Intercontinental Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. So real niggas got questions, Gene. That's right. Like, what are you talking about? It is on my platform interviewing me, asking me about what's going on. Look, that is Bentley and that's him. This man I just interviewed, this man just told me Gene Deal helped Puffy lace him and two minors at the Intercontinental Hotel in Atlanta.
So when he says Bentley, that's Farnsworth Bentley. Remember the guy who used to carry the umbrella for Diddy? That's him in the picture with the guy that Donat said he interviewed, and the guy accused Gene of lacing him and two minors and pinning them down at the Intercontinental Hotel. I think he said in Atlanta. I'm not positive, but nevertheless, that's a huge accusation, very strong accusation. And if the guy is being honest about it, where are the charges? Where are the charges? Where are the civil suit? Something. Those are very strong accusations, and Gene Deal might have knocked him out to keep him quiet. I mean, it's very disturbing to hear that Gene, is being accused of something like that. But of course, you can't believe everything you hear, but at the same time, it's disturbing. Let's see. What else we got? I saw your question, E Boogie, in the chat. Give me a second. Let me see if I had something on Instagram. I think we covered all these things. What is this?
Hey, yo, you telling me you cheating on me with a fake skater?
Puff, listen, I can explain. Don't flip out.
Can't stop, won't stop. Okay, see? Now you're going to date a dude who wears a wedding dress just to go to Starbucks? Ain't no more free calls for you.
Puff, please relax. How about I call the Punisher over and rub his man milk all over your chest again?
Hey, yo, check this out. Don't you ever say his name around me unless you got baby oil all over your body, glistening like a disco ball. I'm going to go have to teach your little boyfriend a lesson.
Stop forcing me to do all these things I want to do.
Don't nobody get to sleep with my girl unless I get to watch.
Okay, but did he say anything about Tupac?
Dang, nice crib, Cuddy. I think you don't mind if I take a look around.
I'm going to sue him in 10 years and I run out of money.
Oh, hell no, we got to break up.
I'm going to have to teach you a little lesson for going behind my back.
What you mean my car on fire?
That's what you get for not drinking any Ciroc. Bad boy, baby.
Don't worry, I'm going to go talk to him. Day and night. Hey, yo, Puff, what is wrong with you?
Hey, yo, you think I wasn't going to find out, Playboy?
What?
That you was paying my girl without letting me see.
Gross.
You think that's cool? You let her ride the baloney pony? Let her see that skin steak? But what about Diddy?
What about my car?
I don't know what you talking about, Kid Cudi.
People be having too much time on their hand. Child. Okay. I know. AI. Let's see. Hold on. eBoogie 713. What were you going to say about the prosecution possibly ending early? I was just saying that they're probably ending early because they have what they need. They already have what they need. They don't want to over stimulate the jury or overdo it Listen, I have a whole attorney in the chat. You have anything to say about them ending early, Miss Black Letter Law? Do you think they're saying that they may cut witnesses and end early because they already think they have their case with what they, you know, with they don't need all the things that they had planned initially? Let me know. Don't we know that guy? Which guy are you speaking of? You talking about Donat? Oh yeah, he was at Tory's trial. Child, remember he got into it with who did he get? I think you got into it with. He got into it with somebody at Tory Lane's trial. Yes, we know who he is. He's messy. Yes, definitely welcome all new subscribers, all my returning subscribers. I appreciate y'all. Ray said, "My Lord." Yeah, this is a lot, y'all, but we are definitely going to be back tomorrow. We got to hear what Mia has to say. Here's Diddy with his golden teeth, butter teeth. And we gonna hear sounds like Mia, according to Trav, trusty Trav. Yes, Trav said she's not gonna she's gonna be on the stand till Friday. So we may, have her all day tomorrow. And I know that's gonna be some good testimony right there, because I personally believe that she is Christina Coram, or KK, who is herself named in a bunch of civil suits. So she's very complicit and she has to save her ass from going to prison. Okay, Black Letter Law said, I think you're on the spot with that. They also don't want to open up anything for the defense. Okay, thank you for that. You don't bill me, though. Okay, you need to go bill Tisa Tales, though. You need to start billing these people. All right, yeah, we're going to end it here. I appreciate you so much. Not too much, but so much. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Have a blessed rest of your day. Blessings and miracles around every corner. All right, y'all. Till then, peace and love. Bye.